volleyball. He got it on the road. Love kid playing next to him.
Oh.
He just loves kids. I know. I was
You
just
know,
going.
I've got the message about me too, the other answer.
He got it. But yeah, it's a cool one. I think
Oh, really?
she acts distracted
Oh.
sometimes. So. Not all the time. Oh, trouble.
Oh, there's Jim. Oh.
I'd like to call the regular board meeting of the hybrid meeting.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk Lux, a roll call, please.
Hutchinson,
Present.
Ingwer,
Present.
Commissioner Jelzinski, Commissioner Marino,
Present.
Commissioner Swaney,
Here.
Commissioner Hope,
Present.
Commissioner Horton.
Here.
All present, Mr. Chairman.
Lux, next up, approval of the agenda. Tonight, we're going to have a public hearing on the proposed Isabella County Sheriff's Office and Correctional Facility project and information regarding the development of this project. That brings us next to general public comments, presentations and special reports. We have nothing. Appointments to boards and commissions. There are no action items. Brings us to the consent agenda. And then after that, we have committee reports, Finance Administration Committee.
Finance and Administration is all set, Mr. Chairman.
We have no action. Criminal Justice and County Affairs Committee. That brings us to Human Resources and Public Works Committee.
Human Resources and Public Works Committee are all set, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. We have no intergovernmental affairs or no administrator controller reports. We have nothing under new unfinished business. We have currently 3 items under new business. Anything any commissioners would like to add to that?
Good. Designate representative for Isabella County. E, resolution number 211103. And F would be resolution number 211104.
Okay. And I believe we're going to have an item G added also. Any Commissioner want to add that, please?
Yeah, I'll add item G, and that would be the command unit letter of understanding wage reopener. Corrections unit.
We'll make that letter H in the command. I guess we'll do more than that.
Okay, and
I.
okay, corrections unit, wage reopener, and then deputies unit, wage reopener, dispatch supervisors, wage reopener, and dispatchers, wage
Okay.
reopener.
Make those changes and we'll add those as letter items, each individual one. So you don't mind doing those when it comes up?
Not at
So I
all.
think that probably puts us into M somewhere, maybe. I lost track on that one, so sorry about that, commissioners. Any commissioners like to add anything else? Good. Next up, general public comments and then announcements, and then we'll adjourn. So given that being said, with the additions, can I get a motion and support for approval of the agenda, please?
Support Marino. I mean, move. Support.
Support Jelazinski.
We got a motion from Moreno, support by Jelazinski for the agenda. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. We now have an agenda. Next up, our public hearing on the proposed Isabella County Sheriff's Office and Correctional Facility Project and information regarding the development of this project. I'll open the public hearing now. Is there anybody in the general public audience who would like to say anything? But before we do that, the sheriff is going to give a presentation of this.
Good evening again. Somebody told me along the way, we're gonna build a new sheriff's office in jail in 2015. I think we're gonna get there. It's been an interesting adventure for sure for most of us that have been involved in it. So, you know, we had some milestones here lately in the project, so that's a good thing. You know, we through the whole COVID mess, you know, we continued to work on this project, and I tell a lot of staff or tell a lot of people that, you know, building a pretty expensive building over COVID was an interesting part of it. So, you know, just to give you a quick overview, we what would happen would they would send us the architects, engineers would send us an 8x11 PDF. We would take it over to the EOC. We'd print a big plotter out, bring it back. My internal staff would use crayons and markers. We'd mark it all up. I'd take pictures with my phone, and then we would crop those and make notes, send it back to the architects, engineers. About midweek, we get together about 12 people on a Zoom call. We'd go over it. By Monday, they'd send the changes back to me. We'd start all over. That's how we engineered this thing. It was, it'll be a story for a lifetime for sure. So as you can see in the back, you know, we've got some nice boards and stuff now that are laid out. That is the design. That's the appropriate orientation. We had a different orientation on a different piece of property, but the one that we're on now, that's the correct one. We are right down into the weeds now, folks. We picked out carpet and color here a couple of weeks ago. We are finalizing some cameras and some security swipe cards and, you know, little things like that. So we are right down to the end game here. My staff, my executive staff went to Branch County on Friday, and we looked at their facility, which their pod looks pretty similar to our pod. So it was a really good adventure to go down there and look at that and get some intel and how their project went. And Clark's Construction was their project manager as well. And that team, I think, is going to be coming to us. So that's a pretty good indicator of what's going to happen. And the facility was really nice. It was really good to look at. So the milestones, you know, we are right on the final leg of the final purchase of the property. I think that's on your agenda tonight, so that's a good thing. The funding mechanisms, we met here a couple times. We just met here recently again a couple weeks ago, and they were out looking for some final things at the site. I think we're right on the tail end of making that come to fruition as well. I think somebody mentioned it earlier that you know, maybe it would be a spring build. We really didn't anticipate doing a 2 winter build. It costs a little more to build in the winters, so spring probably is our start date. You know, it's a little farther behind, but you know, we're dedicated to getting it right. So if we got to push it back to get it right, that was the right thing to do. We're told 18 months. However, I can tell you that Clark's Construction has told us that materials and laborers and stuff like that will dictate how long this project goes, and it could go longer than 18 months if the materials aren't there. And that's just the way life is right now across the country. We're not in a bubble by any means there. So as far as funding, you know, we haven't spent any money, so we're not over any money, but you know, we are pretty cognizant of the fact that prices have went up drastically. So we're watching that. Myself and I know Margaret, some of us have, even Commissioner Horton, have some ideas on how we can maybe bring that price down if we need to offset you know, any increases that we've seen. See how that plays out. Obviously, we're getting that final cost done right now from Clark's. Trying to think what else we got.
For the public, Sheriff, could you tell them how many beds
Oh, sure.
and a
sure.
couple of the things about some of the specialty units?
Yeah, so you know, we get asked a lot about you know, how many beds is it? Because everybody thinks we're expanding beds, right? We aren't necessarily expanding beds. In fact, we're about the same bed spaces we have right now. What this facility does, though, it goes from our 75 or 80% dormitory, which is hard to classify. When I say classify, we have to, you know, level of crime and type of person, and then there's keep aparts of, you know, if this person doesn't get along with that person. That's very hard in our facility right now because we're about 80% dormitory. So this 188 bed facility we're building is more of a pie-shaped pod, and it's 2 and 4 man cells, and we certainly can classify those folks and be able to separate them and do different things. You know, there's not a lot of good out of COVID, obviously, but one of the things that we kind of recognized was we need probably some higher level cells that are designed for folks that are maybe have medical conditions, or maybe it's communicable diseases and stuff. So we've got 8 cells that are that are in the pod that have their own day rooms, their own special ventilation, so we can kind of quarantine. And I always tell the story, we had an inmate at one time that had to go out for brain surgery, and they sent him back to us. And they said, he's got to be in a sterile environment. And I didn't fall out of my chair, but I'm like, how do you do that? Like, this is impossible. But in this case, with this new facility, we certainly can clean them, that small area, and have their own day room and keep them away from others and stuff. Our medical unit is going to be about 3 times the size of the closet that our nursing staff is in right now. But it also has 4 cells that they can, say, you give an inmate a shot and they want to watch them for 15 minutes. Right now, they got to send them back to the cells, and the correction staff, who they're not trained for that. That's not their responsibility. They have to monitor to make sure there's no adverse reactions. But in this case, the nurse can put them right in that cell. So the correction staff on one side can watch them, and the nurse can watch them up from the other side. I mean, there's just tons of stuff like that. And I know my staff is about tired of me saying, in the new facility, that'll correct, they will fix that problem in the new facility. I think they think I'm joking with them that we're really not going to build one, but they're going to be pretty amazed when we get there. I think we're going to have lots of state-of-the-art, best practice stuff there. One other thing we did was we added a bunch of virtual options. When COVID hit, we had to, I called Michelle, our IT director, and said, hey, I need internet here and I need this and that. And she just kind of looked at me like, oh boy, well, we made it happen. And it's not pretty, but it works. And the new facility will have that under control, where they'll have good communications with the courts and mental health and public defender's office and defense attorneys and all the judges and all the magistrates across that we deal with. So there's just tons of little stuff like that built into the project. So it'll be fun to get this up and running for sure.
Okay, thank you. Now I'm going to open up public comment. Anybody would like to do a public hearing on this? Or this goes. 3 minutes on the public hearing, right? Okay. Yes, it'll be limited to 3 minutes on the public hearing on the jail.
This is just on the jail project. Just the jail project right now.
Yes, anybody in the public like to speak about the jail and the correctional facility and the sheriff's department? Sir, if you would please leave your, when you get up to the microphone, if you could state your name and some just contact information, and you'll be limited to 3 minutes on this.
Sign. State my name.
Yes, sir.
Nagy, Nagy.
Just contact information is fine. You don't have to. Yep.
Kind of brings me up to date. I'm a little behind on everything that I've got here. I have to admit that. I've been through 5 sheriffs. He'll be my 6th. I've been to the old Ravenhaven, and you probably don't remember that. Anyway, my biggest question here will be an up and down vote on the proposed new jail. Yes or no? Simple question. Or you can take the 5th.
Oh, Mr. Nagy, I forgot to mention too that the board will just accept comment. We won't be commenting back. This is just
Comment
time.
on that?
This is just public comment for you to state comment.
Call it that. You're working with the constituents, public constituents, taxpayers' dollars must be addressed, obligated to do so and be cost effective. It always started with the old sewage problem. Kenny School had, you probably don't remember that, you probably do, you was at the school. Kenny School, they had sewage problems. Back in the 40s, I went to school there. It's still going today. So, but they always use that, it's about a corporation probably could have fixed it. And you probably could have got it, and one, if you do, put a new one in the jail, I would suggest you run 2 lines. That way there, when you're putting it in, cost effective, put 2 lines in, like they do in the oil fields. You can alternate, or what I mean to say is, you can run a pig through it. You run a pig through it, it cleans out whatever trash is in there or sewage that you have to be getting rid of. That pig will take it out while you're alternating in the other one. I think it'd be wise to do that. That way you're cleaning it out all the time. Well, another one, Commission on Aging was another one, had sewage problems. Where's it at today? You're in it now. The old copycat. Old Jails Heights, you guys said had a height problem. Well, right next to the city hall, got a 4-story building going up. And it's probably in a floodplain right there too. The new site plan, toxic for the surrounding location, in my opinion. Go and come concerns in that area. That Isabella and Remus Road. Realizing congestion, Discovery Museum, Renaissance School, Maury Courts, traffic, food trucks, trash, landfill. Maintenance, people going in and out, lawyers going to see their constituents, out of town people going and coming. You're gonna have visitors and all that kind of stuff. You know, that'd probably put in a roundabout and that would be about $1 million. Your ad hoc committee, work input, other results must have fell pretty short because look how things have been going. I read someplace there's an 8.1 million budget hole. Bosky, you might know something about that. You've been following stuff pretty close.
All right, Mr. Nagy, you've gone about a minute over your 3 minutes, so I'm gonna have to ask you to.
I don't know much about how you guys, the way you've been running things. You owe Isabella back 6 million, don't you?
Again, the board's not going to give any comment back. You can give comment and you've exceeded your 3
Never
minutes.
mind. Wipe it. You're gonna have liability on construction before all the materials that sit there is gonna have to be insured with liability. Engineering, architect costs, turbine, tax revenue. There'd be a miscalculation in it. Falling short of expectations. Where the dollar is going to be made up for there, because it's not going to cover it from what I understand of it.
Okay, Mr. Nagy, like I said, you've exceeded your 3 minutes. I'm gonna have to ask you to stop talking and leave the podium, please.
Alpena County's new jail overruns was $5 million.
Asked you 3 times now. I have to put an end to your speaking. You've exceeded your
My
public
3 minutes
comment
is
time.
over with.
You're about 5 minutes now.
Well, if I could wind this up, bottom line. If a need or a want, why follow? Always ask why and follow the money. I guess that's it. I thank you.
Well, thank you for your comment. I do appreciate that. Thank you so much. Anybody else out in the public would like to say something on the public hearing regarding the sheriff's department and the correctional
That's
facility?
responsible. You seem to be the only one on board with that.
Okay, I don't see anybody else coming to the podium. Michelle, do we have anybody on the virtual audience who'd like to say something? Okay, I will hold public hearing just for a few more moments for the virtual, then we'll close the public hearing. Okay, it's 7:18. I am now going to close the public hearing and move on to general public comments. Do we have any general public comments? Anybody would like to say anything for 3 minutes in the public? Joe, you're going to be, if you're going to talk about the hats, you can talk now. Go ahead. Feel free. Yes, yes. And I'm sorry, it's Mr. Barber. Sorry. I didn't mean to call you Joe. And if you could please, just state your name and just contact information is just all that's necessary.
Happy to do so. I'm Joe Barbary, 1201 Forest Lane, Mount Pleasant, Michigan. With me to my left, Lee Fabiano from Midland, Michigan. And out in the gallery there, Robert Elmore. We've all come tonight for the same purpose, mainly to say thank you for the partnering that we've done for the last 3 years with HATS in the county and working together to deal with issues that affect our animals. As many people know, HATS is an acronym for Humane Animal Treatment Society of Michigan, of Isabella County. I'm sorry. We're a 501c nonprofit entity dedicated to looking out for abused and neglected animals. And we interact with the county because there's a lot of laws that affect the operation of the county's shelter. The dog law 1919 that was originally enacted was to look out for farmers, livestock, and poultry. We have many criminal laws that deal with abusing and neglecting animals. But either way, the animals, whether it's an animal control officer now working with Sheriff Maine or a citizen of this county, they drop off the animals to our shelter. And then we care for them. We make sure they're retained sometimes for a pending criminal case. But eventually the goal is to have them adopted out, as many of you know, to families where we can provide a loving atmosphere and a safe atmosphere for those animals that have been abused or neglected. Through the generosity of our citizens, we've raised funds to hire a part-time veterinarian, Dr. Gruka. We do about 2,000 annually spays and neutering of animals to keep the population down of animals that are strays. Bottom line to it is our group has been partnering with the county for many years. And over the last couple of months, we've worked with your county administrator, Margaret McAvoy, and her successor to be Nicole Frost and Sheriff Maine. And there were very good negotiations. And one thing that people don't realize, yes, we care for animals that have been abused and neglected, but we put them with people that need emotional companionship. Boy, during the pandemic, it really came to unbelievable, the number of people that have come to our shelter looking to adopt and rescue an animal. And so we're looking out for abused and neglected animals, but we help people too. And that's the message I want to give. And again, the main reason we came here, we've negotiated with Margaret and Nicole and Sheriff Maine some language on a new proposed contract, which I understand was presented to you at the work session. We think that we've made some real good provisions, and we're just excited to tell you, it's nice to hear from somebody that comes up and says, thanks. And that's what we're here for. You're doing a good job. We're working together to make our county the great place it is. And we just thought it'd be nice to come up and say, thank you. So that's our purpose. And if anybody has any questions, we'll hang around or answer it. I know it's not supposed to be a dialogue, but if you had a question, throw it at us now. Otherwise, I think we're going to leave and let you get down to the rest of your business.
I don't want to speak for the board, but I say thank you for your organization. What you do in Isabella County is just remarkable. And we speak about crown jewels in our county. HATS is one of them. So thank you.
We're really excited in our animal shelter. I mean, it's kind of an interesting thing with on lands owned by the city of Mount Pleasant because of the FAA requirements that they have. We have 2 buildings, one that was old renovated, the shelter, and then through the generosity of our supporters, we built the health clinic next door where we work. So it's been a great partnership. So thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
our president of our board, by the way. Mr. Elmer's on our board too.
Thank you.
Thanks again.
Thanks.
All right, I want to turn to the audience. Any more public comment? All right, I'll close the live version and go to the virtual version of public comment. Michelle, anybody on the virtual? Okay, in the interest of time, then I will close public comment and move to presentations and special reports, which we have no actions, nothing under appointments to boards and commissions. Brings us down to the consent agenda. And as always, Commissioner Hutchinson, if you would read that, please.
Motion reads, move to approve and place on file November 2nd, 2021 regular meeting minutes, the November 9th, 2021 Finance and Administration Committee meeting minutes, and the November 9th, 2021 Human Resources and Public Works Committee meeting minutes.
Support Marino.
A motion and support to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion on that? Hearing and seeing none, clerk locks a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Hutchinson,
Yes.
Commissioner Marino,
Yes.
Commissioner Sweeney,
Yes.
Commissioner Holt,
Yes.
Commissioner Engler,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Horton.
Yes,
Votes cast 7 ayes, 0 nays. Motion passes, Mr. Chairman.
thank you, clerk locks. All right, that brings us down now to committee reports. First up, Finance and Administration Committee.
Mr. Chairman, item number 1 is the October 29th, 2021 invoice list, the November 5th, 2021 invoice list, and November 11th, 2021 adjustment list. Motion reads, move to ratify and place on file the October 29th, 2021 invoice list in the amount of $247,355.30. The November 5th, 2021 invoice list in the amount of $306,898.12, and the adjustment list dated November 11, 2021.
Support.
We have a motion and support to ratify and place on file the October 29th, 2021 invoice list, the November 5th, 2021 invoice list, and the November 11th, 2021 adjustment list. Discussion, please.
So everything on this list was pretty ordinary stuff that we always see. Nothing really brought up questions in committee or in the work session. Just general stuff. The bigger items on that first list were the Clark Construction February through September construction services for the Isabella County Sheriff's Office Correctional Facility project. And then had some engineering costs for Mission Creek drain improvements. And then our monthly day treatment contract with McBride Quality Care was another one of the large items. So that's a monthly cost that we always see. The next list, we had our monthly credit card charges, JP Morgan Chase, and then some new desktop computers for various departments, several of them. And then our WellPath LLC, and WellPath LLC provides the medical services for the inmates. So we are responsible for their medical care once they are in our jurisdiction. State of Michigan, October District Probate Court transmittals in the amount of $29,798. And then our McBride Quality Care, October non-secure services, 14 use, $21,973. And then on the adjustment list, it's the items that we always see that we pay early at Gordon's Food Service, the City of Mount Pleasant, and our Verizon Wireless bill.
Okay, any further discussion on this? Hearing and seeing none, clerk locks a roll call vote, please.
Yes.
Commissioner Hutchinson,
Yes.
Commissioner Marino,
Yes.
Commissioner Sweeney,
Yes.
Commissioner Holt,
Yes.
Commissioner Engler,
Yes.
Commissioner Horton.
Yes,
Votes cast 7 ayes, 0 nays. Motion passes, Mr. Chairman.
thank you, clerk locks.
The committee's second item of business is sheriff deputy new hire rate. Motion reads, move to approve the request to hire an Isabella County Sheriff Deputy at pay grade deputy step 3 years in the amount of $56,391.27.
Support.
Sorry.
We have a motion and support to approve the request to hire a sheriff's deputy at a new higher rate.
Well, we have a wage scale, and the purpose of that is to be fair to everyone that's coming on. The wage scale starts at a rate for a new person, and they get increased pay as they gain in experience and knowledge in the job. Well, the sheriff's office right now is down 2 deputies, and we're going to have a retirement. And so an opportunity came along with the new pay rate to bring somebody back that was formerly a sheriff's deputy. And so this person is willing to come back, has some experience, can be a trainer, and certainly warrants more than just the beginning pay. And so this is a request for step 3 rather than step 1, which is money well spent. It'll help keep the ranks of our sheriff's office up to par so that they take care of the residents of the county.
Any other commissioners have any comments? Right, hearing and seeing none, clerk Alexa, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Marino,
Yes.
Commissioner Sweetie,
Yes.
Commissioner Holt,
Yes.
Commissioner Inkler,
Yes.
Commissioner Delzinski,
Yes.
Commissioner Hutchinson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hort.
Yes,
Votes cast 7 ayes, 0 nays.
thank you, clerk Lux.
Okay, item number 3, agreement for animal shelter services. Motion reads, move to approve the agreement for animal shelter services between the Humane Animal Treatment Society, HATS, and Isabella County, effective December 1st, 2021 through September 30th, 2023, and authorize the board chairperson to sign the same.
Support.
We have a motion and support to approve the agreement for animal shelter services. Discussion, please.
So this is a contract that Margaret worked quite a bit with the people from HATS. It took a little longer than anticipated. We extended it once through the end of November, and now we have the contract. It was very, from everything I've heard, a very amicable process. Mr. Barbary from HATS and Ms. Fabiano spoke in public comment and talked about the nice relationship they have with the county. They do a fantastic job. They run the shelter services. And I like something Mr. Barbary said, they help animals, but they help people too. They also kind of help people and get them an animal that'll suit them and work with them. And they spay and neuter 2,000 animals last year. They said, so that's huge. They do a terrific job. I thank them for that. Some of the changes they hammered out, we got extended hours Tuesday night and then Saturday morning. So that'll help. And then other than that, it was just clarifying a few things. The county wanted to make sure that when people surrendered an animal that they could do that without any complications, and that if an animal needed to be held for any legal reasons, that HATS would hold that animal as long as necessary, which sometimes takes a while. So.
Thank you. Any further discussion among commissioners? Hearing and seeing none, clerk Alexa, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Holt,
Yes.
Commissioner Inkler,
Yes.
Commissioner Delzinski,
Yes.
Commissioner Hutchinson,
Yes.
Commissioner Marino,
Yes.
Commissioner Sweetie,
Yes.
Commissioner Hort.
Yes,
Votes cast 7 ayes, 0 nays. Motion passed, Mr. Chairman.
thank you, clerk Lux.
Chairman, that completes the work of the Finance and Administration Committee.
Thank you, gentlemen. Next up, the Criminal Justice and County Affairs Committee. We have no business, which leads us to item C, Human Resources and Public Works Committee.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Our first item is the Fisher Annex Lease Agreement 2022. The motion, I move to approve the 2022 Fisher Annex Lease Agreement for Deerfield Nature Park and authorize the board chair to sign the same.
Support.
We have a motion and support to approve the Fisher Annex Lease Agreement 2022. Discussion, please.
Okay, since 1983, the county has leased 160 acres from R.J. Fisher Jr., the Fisher Annex River Project LLC Trust. It's part of, a really good part of Deerfield Nature Park. And the cost for the property is equal to the property taxes on the land for that year payable to River Project LLC. We have paid approximately $3,057 to $4,942, $4,942 a year since 1999 for the use of the property. And we have budgeted $5,500 for the estimated taxes for 2021. This agreement is an annual agreement, and it always commences on January 1st and terminates in December 31st each year. Does anybody have any comments or questions about this?
Okay, hearing and seeing no comments. Clerk Lux, a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Hutchinson,
Yes.
Commissioner Marino,
Yes.
Commissioner Slaney,
Yes.
Commissioner Holt,
Yes.
Commissioner Engler,
Yes.
Commissioner Jelzinski,
Yes.
Commissioner Hort.
Yes,
Votes cast, 7 ayes, 0 nays. Motion passed, Mr. Chairman.
thank you, Clerk Lux.
Second item, resolution number 21-1101, International Day of Elimination of Violence Against Women. Motion reads, move to adopt Isabel County Board of Commissioners, resolution number 21-11-01, International Day of Elimination of Violence Against Women, and authorize the board chair to sign.
We have a motion and support to adopt resolution number 21-11-01, International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women. Discussion, please.
Yeah, this was brought to us by Zona International, is a global international organization that fights against trafficking of women. Also, it's got 28,000 members, 62 countries are involved in this. And it's just the equality against women and girls and the way that they've been abused. And this is a resolution that the United Nations has established this particular date, which is November 25th, 2021. And it's going to be the International Elimination of Violence Against Women.
Thank you. Hearing and seeing nothing. Clerk Lux, a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Jelzinski,
Yes.
Commissioner Hutchinson,
Yes.
Commissioner Marino,
Yes.
Commissioner Slaney,
Yes.
Commissioner Holt,
Yes.
Commissioner Engler,
Yes.
Commissioner Hort.
Yes,
Votes cast, 7 ayes, 0 nays. Motion passed.
thank you, Clerk Lux.
That, the activities of the Human Resources and Public Works Committee is concluded.
Brings us to intergovernmental affairs, which we have no action. We have nothing under administrator controller this evening. Bring us to item 10, unfinished business. We have no actions. Bring us to item number, or excuse me, section 11, new business. First up.
Item A, fiscal year 2022 CESF grant application trial court. Motion reads, move to approve the submission of the fiscal year 2022 coronavirus emergency supplemental funding, CESF, grant application for Isabella County Trial Court in the amount of $71,877.65.
Support.
And we have a motion in support to approve the fiscal year 2022 CESF grant application for the trial court. Discussion, please.
The court administrator was here to explain that this application will for a little over $71,000 will provide funding for basically the costs of the corona epidemic there. So obviously PPE supplies, air purifiers, technology upgrades in the court system, a few other items. So we're lucky to have them applying for these grants.
Thank you. Any further discussion among commissioners? Hearing and seeing none, Clerk Lux, a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Marino,
Yes.
Commissioner Slaney,
Yes.
Commissioner Holt,
Yes.
Commissioner Engler,
Yes.
Commissioner Jazinski,
Yes.
Commissioner Hutchinson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hort.
Yes,
Votes cast 7-0 nay. Motion passed, Mr. Chairman.
thank you, Clerk Lux.
Okay, item B is resolution number 21-11-02, and the motion reads, move to adopt Isabella County Board of Commissioners Resolution number 21-11-02 in honor of Margaret McAvoy and authorize the board chair to sign the same.
Support.
We have a motion and support to adopt resolution number 21-11-02. Any discussion?
So I read the motion in the work session. We're not going to read it again this time in the regular session because there's a rumor going around that we're going to present that in somewhat of a more ceremonious fashion at some point.
Sworn to secrecy. Well, not in a public meeting, we can't secrecy things, but anyway.
The only other thing I'll say is that Margaret, you've had such a distinguished career that it took a really long motion. Thank you.
Any further discussion among commissioners on this? Even I'll be quiet on this. Hearing none, we'll move to Clerk Lux for a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Slaney,
Yes.
Commissioner Holt,
Yes.
Commissioner England,
Yes.
Commissioner Jazinski,
Yes.
Commissioner Hutchinson,
Yes.
Commissioner Reno,
Yes.
Commissioner Hart.
Yes,
Votes cast 7-0 nay. Motion passed, Mr. Chairman.
thank you, Clerk Lux.
Okay, next up is close the purchase of property at East Remus Road. The motion reads, move to proceed to close the purchase of the property at East Remus Road in Union Township pursuant to the April 30th, 2021 purchase and sale agreement, and authorize the county board chairman to sign any necessary documents upon review and approval as to the form by the county's attorney.
Support.
We have a motion and support to proceed to the close of the purchase of property on East Remus Road. Discussion, please.
Okay, this is the final step to close the property and to proceed with the jail project. Pretty self-explanatory.
Okay, yep, we had a discussion in our business session today, and we'll proceed to closing and for the purchase of the property. So, any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, Clerk Lux, a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Hutchinson,
Yes.
Commissioner Reno,
Yes.
Commissioner Slaney,
Yes.
Commissioner Holt,
Yes.
Commissioner England,
Yes.
Commissioner Jazinski,
Yes.
Commissioner Hort.
Yes,
Votes cast 7-0 nay. Motion passed, Mr. Chairman.
thank you, Clerk Lux.
E, designate representative for Isabel County. Motion reads, move to designate Isabel County Administrator Controller as a representative authorized to receive and sign paperwork on the behalf of the county regarding the national opioid litigation.
Support.
We have a motion and support to, yes, we have a motion and support to approve the motion as stated. Discussion on that. That's,
Well, this is something that we got to put in place with the national opioid litigation and kind of a lawsuit that's going down where it breaks apart. As a matter of fact, these next three we got to put in place for Margaret to sign the papers as everything comes through.
yeah, I think the community is aware that a while back, the county was proactive and was approached, and we signed early on in the opioids to engage in some lawsuits in regards to the opioid crisis in our country. And this is, now we're starting to see the tail end of this and some settlements. So this is just representative of that. And this is the first part of two more things Commissioner Hutchins is going to read off. And this first one's designating a representative for Isabella County to be authorized to receive and sign paperwork. So any further discussion? And Commissioner Margaret, yes.
So the motion was motion was purposely written to read administrator controller so that there's not going to be any hiccup after I retire and Nicole can do that. Nicole will not be signing any settlement papers or anything, so don't misunderstand. Those types of official documents would come back to the board. But I get emails all the time from these people and sometimes I have to do something back and I'll talk to the chairperson or whatever. So as we're moving to this phase, this is one of their recommendations that came in, that much information the other day. So that's where that motion is coming from. Thank you, sir.
Any further discussion on that motion? Hearing and seeing none, clerk locks the roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Delzinski,
Yes.
Commissioner Hutchinson,
Yes.
Commissioner Marino,
Yes.
Commissioner Slaney,
Yes.
Commissioner Holt,
Yes.
Commissioner England,
Yes.
Commissioner Horton.
Yes,
Votes cast 7 ayes, 0 nays. Motion passed, Mr. Chairman.
thank you, clerk locks.
E, resolution number 21-11-03. Move to adopt Isabella Board of Commissioners Resolution number 21-11-03. Resolution authorizing entire state, local government, interstate agreement concerning allocations and settlement procedure in the national opioid litigation and authorize the board chair to sign the same.
Support Marino.
We have a motion and support to adopt resolution number 21-11-03. Any discussion on this? This basically is approving concerning the allocation of the settlement proceeds. We had a discussion in closed session today, and the board is going forward with the allocation of settlement proceeds in the national opioid litigation. Any further discussion? Clerk locks the roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Marino,
Yes.
Commissioner Slaney,
Yes.
Commissioner Holt,
Yes.
Commissioner England,
Yes.
Commissioner Delzinski.
Yes.
Commissioner Hutchinson,
Yes.
Commissioner Horton.
Yes,
Votes cast 7 ayes, 0 nays. Motion passed, Mr. Chairman.
thank you, clerk locks.
F, resolution 21-11-04. Motion reads, move to adopt Isabel County Board of Commissioners Resolution 21-11-04. Resolution authorizing entire participation agreements in partial settlements of the national prescription appointed litigation and authorize the board chair to sign the same.
Support Marino.
We have a motion and support to adopt resolution number 21-11-04. Discussion. Again, this is furtherance of the opioid settlement. This is authorizing the board for participation agreements and partial settlement. We had discussions on dollar amounts and length of time being paid off, being the term of everything. We had discussions in regards to, I'm going real generalized because it was in closed session, in determining on what those funds can be used for abatement of some issues, for what it can cost the county. Some of those funds can be used for that. So it was very informative. This is all online. If anybody wants to do, the opioid crisis in this country is not going away. I think every day, I think the Morning Sun last week had, I believe we had either two deaths or one death and one person very injured in regards to some opioid. I think one is even methamphetamine, but opioid crisis is not going away. So it's something we deal with and continue to deal with. So any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, clerk locks a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Slaney,
Yes.
Commissioner Holt,
Yes.
Commissioner England,
Yes.
Commissioner Delzinski.
Yes.
Commissioner Hutchinson,
Yes.
Commissioner Marino,
Yes.
Commissioner Horton.
Yes,
Votes cast 7 ayes, 0 nays. Motion passed.
thank you. That brings us up item number G.
Okay, item number G is Command Unit Letter of Understanding Wage Reopener 2022, and the motion reads, move to approve the letter of understanding between Isabella County Board of Commissioners and Isabella County Sheriff's Office and Command Officers Association of Michigan Command Unit, agreeing that 2.5% shall be added to the 2021 base wage scale effective January 1st, 2022, and authorize the board chair to sign the same.
Support.
We have a motion and support to approve the letter of understanding for the Command Unit Wage Reopener 2022. Discussion?
So I guess Negotiation for this letter of understanding was short and sweet from what I've heard. And amicable from both sides. So that's always a good thing.
And you can probably add that same discussion for I, J, K, and L. Okay. So any
Right.
further discussion among commissioners? Hearing and seeing none, clerk will ask for roll call vote.
Commissioner Polk,
Yes.
Commissioner England,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hutchinson. Yes. Commissioner Marino,
Yes.
Commissioner Sweeney.
Yes.
Commissioner Horton.
Yes,
Votes cast, 7 ayes, 0 nays. Motion passed, Mr. Chairman.
thank you, Clerk Wilks.
Okay, item H, Corrections Unit, Letter of Understanding, Wage Reopener 2022. Motion reads, move to approve the letter of understanding between Isabella County Board of Commissioners and Isabella County Sheriff's Office and Police Officers Association of Michigan Corrections Unit, agreeing that 2.5% shall be added to the 2021 base wage scale effective January 1st, 2022, and authorize the board chair to sign the same.
Support.
Motion and support for the Corrections Unit Letter of Understanding Wage Reopener 2022. Discussion.
So again, these negotiations went very well, and these units were pleased to be getting a 2.5% wage increase, and we're glad that we are able to provide that.
Very good. Any other commissioners' comments? Hearing and seeing none, clerk will ask a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Hutchinson,
Yes.
Commissioner Marino,
Yes.
Commissioner Sweeney,
Yes.
Commissioner Polk,
Yes.
Commissioner England,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Horton.
Yes,
Votes cast, 7 ayes, 0 nays. Motion passed, Mr. Chairman.
thank you, Clerk Wilks.
Okay, item I, Deputies Unit, Letter of Understanding Wage Reopener 2022. Motion reads, move to approve the letter of understanding between Isabella County Board of Commissioners and Isabella County Sheriff's Office and Police Officers Association Deputies Unit, agreeing that 2.5% shall be added to the 2021 base wage scale effective January 1st, 2022, and authorize the board chair to sign the same.
Support.
We have a motion and support for the Deputies Unit Letter of Understanding Wage Reopener 2022. Discussion.
So pretty much the same as the other. Also, but getting 2.5% wage increase.
Any further discussion among commissioners? Hearing and seeing none, clerk will ask a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hutchinson,
Yes.
Commissioner Marino,
Yes.
Commissioner Sweeney,
Yes.
Commissioner Polk,
Yes.
Commissioner England,
Yes.
Commissioner Horton.
Yes,
Votes cast, 7 ayes, 0 nays. Motion passed, Mr. Chairman.
thank you, Clerk Lux.
So J, 9/11 dispatch supervisors, letter of understanding wage reopener 2022. Motion reads, move to approve the letter of understanding between Isabella County Board of Commissioners and Command Officers Association of Michigan 911 dispatch supervisors unit, agreeing that 2.5% shall be added to the 2021 base wage scale effective January 1st, 2022, and authorize the board chair to sign the same.
Support.
We have a motion and support to approve the 911 Dispatch Supervisor's Letter of Understanding Wage Reopener 2022. Discussion.
So same story as the other groups.
You do a lot of work here. They had to replace your microphone. You've been
I
talking so
know.
much. So, any further discussion among commissioners? Hearing and seeing none, clerk Lux, a roll call vote, please.
Yes.
Yes.
Commissioner Polk,
Yes.
Commissioner England,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hutchinson, Commissioner Horton.
Yes,
Votes cast, 7 ayes, 0 nays. Motion passed, Mr. Chairman.
thank you, clerk Lux.
Okay, and finally, item K is 911 dispatchers, letter of understanding wage reopener 2022. Motion reads, move to approve the letter of understanding between Isabella County Board of Commissioners and Police Officers Association of Michigan 911 dispatchers unit, agreeing that 2.5% shall be added to the 2021 base wage scale effective January 1st, 2022, and authorize the board chair to sign the same.
Support.
We have a motion of support for the 911 dispatchers letter of understanding wage reopener 2022. Discussion, please.
Yeah, I'll just say that, and I think Commissioner Jalzinski said this in a work session a while back, but we don't want to get in a position where we fall behind again and have to catch up on wages. So we're staying on top of that. We're able to at this time, so that's good.
Any further discussion among commissioners? Hearing and seeing none, clerk Lux, a roll call vote.
Yes.
Commissioner Holt,
Yes.
Commissioner England,
Yes.
Commissioner Jazinski,
Yes.
Commissioner Hutchinson,
Yes.
Commissioner Marino.
Yes.
Commissioner
Yes.
votes yes, 7 ayes, 0 nays, motion passed.
Thank you, Clerk Lux. That brings us to the end of the new business section of our agenda. Next up, general public comments. Is anybody out in the audience would please come up and speak? And we have 3 minutes. Please state your name and just some general contact information.
Definitely will not take 3 minutes. My name is Ruth Wig, and I'm currently the secretary of the Zonta Club of Mount Pleasant. And I wanted to speak to Resolution 21-11-01. And basically, I wanted to thank the Board of Commissioners on behalf of the Zonta Club of Mount Pleasant and Zonta International. Zonta is an international organization that has been around for about 100 years. And most of that time it has worked with the United Nations. Its mission is to empower women and girls through service and advocacy. And Zonta envisions a world in which women's rights are recognized as human rights and every woman is able to achieve her full potential. And a critical piece of this mission is our work in conjunction with the United Nations and with other local entities around the world to end human trafficking and end sexual assault. So again, we'd like to thank you for recognizing November 25th, 2021 as the United Nations Annual International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women. Thank you for your support.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
I have one other comment. I've spent a lot of time the last few weeks at the library on the Voices and Votes, working as a docent, and I would like to thank Mindy for supplying local election equipment and other things that have made that exhibit more real to people of Isabella County. So thank you.
Thank you very much. That just leaves the sheriff, and he's spoken up tonight. So we're going to close the live portion of the audience and we'll move to the virtual. Okay, we'll hold it just for a few more moments. Okay, at 7:57, I will close the general public comments and move to announcements. Commissioners. I see no announcements from the commissioners except for myself tonight. I'd just like to say thank you to Michelle Ray tonight for the wonderful job that she did stepping in and helping out. She's been a godsend and a whirlwind of somebody for doing these meetings that we have here. A lot of times we're making it up as we go, and tonight was no exception. And I think it was done very professionally and keeping the community in mind. As we go forward, I just had a discussion today with the county administrator controller as we go forward into next year, as far as keeping our countywide emergency status, and also with the legislature maybe doing away with some of the requirements, whether they're going to extend some certain things as far as virtual and live meetings and things like that. But I think what we decided as a board back in July or August, we decided to go live. And I like this combination of having both a live and a virtual. And even if one day when we go back to totally live and not have to have the requirements of the mask or anything like that, hopefully in 2022 we can do that. I like the aspect of the virtual. I think that opens it up to a whole realm of people that can't necessarily get out, people with children, the elderly, people can't drive at night. I think that opens up and they can see our meetings and it gives them a chance to comment. And that's what we're all about as one community, is being able to share and give opinions. So that's all I really have to say tonight. So if I can get a motion and support Commissioner Zelezinski.
thank Chair Horton for providing dinner. I love that pepperoni pizza. I never had a piece of pepperoni pizza that had that much pepperoni on it. So thank you.
And bring your cell phone and I'll call you and make sure it rings so you can get it. I'm just kidding. And Michelle, thank you again for the wonderful snack, the bread that you made. I had 4 pieces or so, and I'm hoping to go back and get more if there's some there. So with that, I'll take a motion of support for adjournment, please.
Support.
By Commissioner Hutchinson and a support by Commissioner Jelazinski. Any further discussion on that? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned at 7:59. Whew. I know. Here's Margaret, great line. Oh, you got to do these too.
Right.
Okay.